Beneath the emerald canopy of the Tambopa National Reserve in Peru, sunlight filtered through the leaves like liquid gold. The air was rich with the scent of moss and rain, the calls of exotic birds weaving a melody that only the jungle could compose. It was here, in this vast and ancient wilderness, that two rangers, Rachel and Alice, were about to uncover something that would shake the very foundations of the reserve they had sworn to protect. Rachel was known for his calm presence and sharp instincts. His eyes, always alert, could spot the faintest trail or disturbance. Alice, in contrast, was gentle but fierce in her passion for nature. Her sun-kissed skin and warm smile hid the unyielding determination that had earned her deep respect among the locals. Together, they had patrolled Tambopa for years, guardians of a paradise that few truly understood. That morning, a simple call from an old farmer named Miguel set everything into motion. His cow, Barroso, had gone missing near the eastern edge of the reserve. Though the task sounded routine, something in Miguel's trembling voice made both rangers uneasy. Rachel trusted his instincts. He had learned long ago that in the jungle, nothing was ever as simple as it seemed. They set off at dawn, machetes in hand, the damp trail glistening under shafts of sunlight. The forest was alive with movement, macaws flying overhead, insects humming near the undergrowth, the distant rustle of unseen creatures. For hours, they followed the faint hoofprints along the muddy ground until suddenly, Rachel stopped. A sharp, foul odor filled the air, thick and unmistakable. Alice's nose wrinkled. That smell, it's not just decay. It's something big. Rachel crouched, eyes narrowing. Stay close. They pushed through a wall of vines and froze. Lying across the trail was a monstrous anaconda, its body grotesquely swollen. It was dead, its massive form partially bloated under the humid air. But what left them speechless was the unmistakable outline of Barroso, the missing cow, visible beneath the snake's stretched skin. Alice covered her mouth, horrified. Oh my God, it swallowed the cow whole. Rachel nodded grimly, but noticed something strange. The bulge was uneven, unnaturally shaped, larger at one side. His brow furrowed. There's something else inside. With steady hands, he drew his field knife and made a careful incision. The stench of decomposition hit them instantly, but curiosity pushed them forward. As the skin peeled open, something dark and heavy slid out. A mud-covered backpack, slick with digestive fluids. Alice stepped back in disbelief. What is that doing inside a snake? Rachel didn't answer. He carried the dripping bag to a nearby clearing, the forest eerily silent around them. The smell was unbearable, but both knew they couldn't walk away. With cautious fingers, Rachel unzipped the backpack. Inside was a bundle of papers, wrapped in plastic. They were topographical maps, precise, detailed, and definitely not meant for tourists. Red markings traced across untouched zones of the forest, labeled with coordinates and coded notes. Alice leaned closer, her voice trembling. These are restricted areas, logging routes, machinery points. Rachel's expression hardened. It's an operation plan, illegal logging. Large scale. They continued searching the contents, lists of equipment, coded names, and a small, battered voice recorder. Rachel pressed play. Static filled the air before two voices emerged, deep and conspiratorial. Sector B7 is clear, one said. The ranger won't come near. Don't worry, replied the second, calm and confident. It's all arranged. Move the goods next week under the new moon. Alice froze, eyes wide. That voice, she whispered, her heart pounding. She listened again. There was no mistake. It was Chief Ranger Mateo, the man she had admired, the one who had mentored her, who taught her to love this forest. Her hands trembled as reality sank in. Mateo wasn't protecting Tambopa. He was selling it out. Rachel's face was stone. The discovery had just turned a simple search mission into a dangerous conspiracy. The truth they had unearthed could destroy careers, reputations, and maybe even cost their lives. The sun dipped low, painting the jungle in fiery hues. Rachel zipped the bag shut, his tone quiet but resolute. We can't tell anyone yet. Not until we know who else is involved. Alice swallowed hard, tears of betrayal glistening in her eyes. The forest around them suddenly felt different, less like a sanctuary, more like a trap filled with hidden eyes. Their fight for truth had only just begun. The night settled over Tombopa with a strange stillness. Crickets sang, and the faint murmur of the river filled the air. Yet, in Rachel and Alice's camp, silence carried a different weight, the kind that comes when the truth you've uncovered threatens to destroy everything you once trusted. The forest, once their comfort, now felt like a living shadow, guarding secrets within its dark canopy. Days turned into nights as they moved cautiously, concealing their discovery. Every step they took was measured, every conversation whispered. The backpack, once an object of curiosity, now felt like a ticking bomb in their possession. They had uncovered something too big, a network of corruption that stretched beyond the trees and into the system meant to protect them. Alice couldn't shake the sound of Mateo's voice from her mind. The deep calm that once guided her now echoed like betrayal. She remembered the time he had stood beside her under this same canopy, telling her, "The forest speaks only to those who listen with honesty." Now that same man had silenced it with greed. "He destroyed everything he taught us," she said bitterly one evening, her voice trembling. Rachel looked up from the small campfire. "He destroyed himself, Alice. But we won't let him destroy this forest too." His tone was steady, but his mind was racing. They needed proof strong enough to withstand political cover-ups and threats. Exposing Mateo meant exposing a chain of powerful people who profited from the jungle's destruction. For days, they worked in secret. Rachel mapped routes of hidden log trails and documented machinery marks along forbidden zones. Alice gathered testimonies from trusted villagers, recording the stories of trees felled in the dead of night and trucks vanishing by dawn. Each discovery was like pulling another thread from a tangled web. Then, one night, under a full moon, they made their decision. They would go beyond Tombopa and meet someone who could protect their evidence. Elena Rios, a senior official known for her integrity and fearlessness in exposing environmental crimes. Reaching her would not be easy, but it was their only chance. The journey out of the reserve was perilous. They avoided ranger checkpoints and changed paths frequently, knowing that one wrong move could cost them their lives. When they finally reached the small city 2 days later, exhaustion clung to them like a second skin. Still, they didn't rest. In a quiet, dimly lit office behind a botanical research center, they met Elena. She listened in silence as they laid everything before her. The maps, the recordings, the documents still stained from the anaconda's belly. When Mateo's voice filled the room, even she paled. This is deeper than I imagined," she said softly. Then, her eyes sharpened. "You've both done something extraordinary. But now we must move fast." Within days, a covert operation was launched. Using the evidence Rachel and Alice provided, investigators swept through the region. Hidden camps were dismantled, illegal timber shipments seized, and several officials arrested. When Mateo was finally captured, he offered no defense, only silence, his eyes hollow as though the forest itself had turned its back on him. The aftermath was both relief and heartbreak. Tombopa began to heal, but scars remained, in the forest and in the hearts of those who loved it most. Rachel and Alice were never publicly praised, but among the rangers and villagers, their names became a quiet symbol of integrity. Months later, as the dawn light painted the treetops gold, Alice stood with Rachel overlooking the valley. The forest hummed with life again. "Do you think it'll ever forget what happened?" she asked. Rachel smiled faintly. "The forest doesn't forget, Alice. It forgives when we fight for it." Their journey, born from a simple search for a missing cow, had become a story of courage and truth. A reminder that even in a world tangled with deceit, there are still hearts brave enough to stand for what's right. The jungle may keep its secrets, but when the right people listen, even silence speaks.